Hi everyone. I decided to discuss social constructionism for this little discussion post. It kind of stuck out to me, so I'll discuss why. Right from the book, social constructionism is the idea that schools, teachers, and students should take the lead in addressing social problems and improving society. I took that to mean a social constructionist approach to education might examine current social issues or inequalities having to do with race, gender, socioeconomic class, legal systems, or media influence. So these are kind of all things that are currently happening, and I think that's what social construction is about. It's more about current events and how to teach students how to materially fix those things, as opposed to something like perennialism or essentialism, which is more about teaching students the classics or like filling them with knowledge that's already been decided upon by old people. So the book discusses prominent thinker Paulo Freire, I think is the way it would be pronounced. I could be wrong about that. But he used the analogy: students are not like a bank which we're dropping knowledge into. We should think of it more of like we're encouraging conversations and analysis, critical analysis of current issues, so that they have a fighting chance of making a better world. And I like that. I think that's really cool. Upon a little more research, I found another thinker, George S. Counts, and he wrote this cool little paper. I have it linked there. Dare the School Build a New Social Order in 1932. And this quote over here underneath me is from that. It's an interesting paper if you want to read it. I'll try to put the link or the references in the comments too, so you can click that. But I highlighted this class just for a little context. At this point in the paper, he's been kind of talking smack about a certain class of people who want to be progressive and in education specifically, but they're kind of just projecting that viewpoint, but they're not really. They're kind of more like these kind of people who really would rather uphold the status quo. They don't want to do the hard work to really change society. They would like to seem that way though. But anyways, this is the quote. If progressive education is to be genuinely progressive, it must emancipate itself from the influence of this class, face squarely and courageously every social issue, come to grips with life in all its stark reality, establish an organic relation with the community, develop a realistic and comprehensive theory of welfare, fashion a compelling and challenging vision of human destiny, and become less frightened than it is today at the bogies of imposition and indoctrination. So I take this all to mean that this particular philosophy, social constructionism in education, is all about going scorched earth on the real issues and educating students and giving them the tools that they need to really make change, and not make surface level change, but to change like the system that we've all kind of discussed in this class, to get to the root of the problem. And that takes critical analysis and collaboration and discussion. So thinking about that, I'm trying to think of a few kind of examples of that in current times. One example is, go ahead and Google students protesting ICE, and you will find many hits of that. It's a current, extremely controversial topic. I don't know if you could argue that public schools are pushing this on students, but they're allowing for walkouts and protests and stuff, and that's a real, I think that aligns with this philosophy. Another one, more kind of an actual curriculum type thing that I found, is there's a group called More Perfect, and they recently came out with a initiative called In Pursuit. It's a civic education thing where they're taking essays from presidents and first ladies, and they're doing, I think it's one a week. I linked that down here too, by the way, if you want to check it out. They're doing one a week, and the idea is they want to use primary sources to discuss these moments in our history through the lens of a president, and then kind of encourage students to think why that matters at this current time. And I think that also aligns with this philosophy. It's all about looking at what's going on around us and what has happened and what's changed and what hasn't, and maybe why it hasn't changed or what will make it change. So I find this philosophy quite interesting. I'm interested to see what you guys have been considering, and I'd like to hear your thoughts. Thank you. I appreciate it. Bye.